Welcome back. I'm glad that you made it to this second video on anger management for children. Okay, so I asked a question in the previous video that if you're here and you're wondering, why do I need to watch this video? I don't have anger problems. I'm not here to convince you that you're an angry person. It doesn't matter, but I think there's a lot you can learn about anger and see whether some little things that are your pet peeves, some tiny little anger that you might have, or some annoyances that you have, might be an inspiration for something in your future. So stay tuned and watch. And so I'd like to ask you a question very quickly. Do you get angry at all? Now, there are different types of anger. In fact, if you go on the internet, you might find about 18 types of anger, 10 types of anger, 12 types of anger. But I would just call three types. I'll put all of that together into three types. So the first type you're seeing on the screen right now is what I call the speaker. So there's a speaker type of anger. And then the second one is the fireball type of anger. And then finally, there is the mosquito type of anger. And so you're probably wondering, what do these mean? Be patient. So let's start with the first one, the speaker. That's the good one. The speaker type of anger. As I am describing these types of anger, you might be able to paint a picture of what type you are, what type of anger you manifest. So think about it. Now, the speaker type of anger, the first thing is this person talks about the feeling that he or she has. Okay, the person has been angered and is willing to talk about it rather than close it up. So this person doesn't just close it up, talks about it. And in talking about it, this person keeps their voice calm, expresses their feelings without raising a voice, without yelling, or without any excessive expression of anger. Next thing is the person actually seeks to understand the other person's view. So, in expressing your dissatisfaction or in expressing whatever has upset you, your objective is to understand the other person's view, not just air your own opinion. Yeah, and then, of course, using words like I feel, words like I think, instead of you always, why do you? These are the kind of words that the person who's a speaker in expressing his or her anger would use. And then, of course, finally, this person's goal is for positive change and not necessarily thinking about what will make him or her feel good. So it's not a feel good emotion. It's not a feel good purpose. It's just about making positive change. All right. The second example is the fireball. Now that's the loud one. I'm sure you can paint a picture of what it would be like to be a fireball. Simple things like yell. The fireball, the person who, the fireball type of anger is yelling. The person yells a lot, destroys things, and then of course uses hurtful words. Okay. Now, what happens if a person has this type of anger feeling? Okay, the consequence, number one, is people who express their anger in the fireball style are hard to understand because little things can make them flare up. So people can't place them. They don't exactly know what they could possibly do wrong that would make them flare up. And many times people don't intentionally offend us. They just happen to make mistakes that get on our nerves. And so if you have the fireball type of expression of anger, then people try to avoid you, which brings me to the next point. You hurt people with your words, you hurt people with your expression of anger, and so people don't want to be around you. Okay, so think about it. If you do that a lot, then you need to change your ways and try to be the speaker and not the fireball. Okay, now the final one is the mosquito. Now that's the quiet one. I mean, think about a mosquito. Yeah, mosquitoes are not noisy. They just make sounds. Sometimes you don't even notice them. You can even almost ignore them. But man, when they do bite you, they leave a mark. I mean, you're nursing that for a while. And of course, they also leave malaria behind. And malaria is very deadly. In fact, mosquito is the deadliest animal in the world. So that's to tell you that this type of people, actually, people who express their anger in the mosquito way, they hurt themselves a lot. They do a lot of self-hurt because they don't express their feelings. They keep it to themselves. They just keep mulling these ideas in their head, and then it keeps depressing them. making them feel bad within, mainly because they don't know how to express it. And so they hurt themselves in the process. Sometimes some even physically injure themselves, like biting their lips, like pinching themselves, like scratching themselves, and things like that. That's the mosquito way of expressing anger. The next one is they give other people silent treatment. They just don't say a word. They just close up. They're angry, and the person whom they're angry with, doesn't even know. They just they just go away. And so it's hard to even tell whether they're angry or they just need some privacy. So next, they say nothing, but they think many bad thoughts. They keep mulling what they could possibly do to revenge in their heads, but they don't say anything. Or they keep rehearsing what they would like to say in their heads, but they never even get around to saying them. Okay, and then the people who do the mosquito way, they hurt the person later, especially when that person has forgotten. Okay, so they revenge. Now, what exactly are the consequences of being a mosquito type of anger expression? Um, People may see you as dishonest because you they'll ask you, "Are you okay?" And you go, "Yes, you're fine." While in actual fact, you're not fine. You don't express your feelings fully, and so that makes people wonder, why didn't you say anything all along? It's hard for me to be a friend if you won't even tell the truth. And then people who have this type of anger expression suffer a lot of low self-esteem. They Because they begin to second guess themselves, or they feel they're not good enough, and so that happens to them a lot. So think about it. Neither of the last two I have expressed is a good way of expressing your anger. The first one is the best way. So if you don't have that style, learn it. Okay, so we're moving on to the next video. Join me in the third section after now. Thank you for watching.